So there's two thought processes of building out these models, a top-down approach and a bottom-up approach. So when your business isn't clearly defined, you would use a bottom-up approach. And when your business is defined, you would probably use a top-down approach. I'll explain what these two approaches
Yeah,
are.
yeah. Please explain.
So a bottom-up approach is when the business isn't clearly defined and, even the stakeholders don't know kind of the metrics that they might be dealing with. They'll give you haphazard just answers to your questions on how to build the model. So what you want to do is you want to start building. So the bottom-up approach is build first, and as you're building, you work with the stakeholder to modify. So first it starts with the model building, which you're working with the stakeholder to get the initial business requirements. And then you release that model to them. You move it to production and they start working in that model, pulling self-service, and they're QAing the model essentially from their perspective. And they're saying, well, we don't have this field and this field lives in Salesforce. We need that in this model. Oh, it'd be cool if we could do this in this model. So there's a bunch of model additions that happen. And this happens for quite some time. But you give control of these models over to the business area so that they can actually write the documentation on the model, that they can actually work in the model and describe what their needs are. And then finally, once all the additions are there and, there's less QA and less additions, then you're moving to model optimization where, hey, the model might have gotten too big, or there's a lot of redundancies in the model. Like there's this metric called revenue, and then there's this other metric called, revenue, and how do we deal with that? So removing redundancies and making the model optimized so that anyone can use it and it's easily translatable. And then finally is the streamlining. So a lot of the times with these models, you'll set up the queries or the tables that exist in these models. And a lot of people will write these complex queries inside their business intelligence tool. And once you have the model solidified through model optimization, then you want to take those complex queries that live in your model and move it into your warehouse into fact and dimensional tables. So this is where you can actually define your business from the bottom up, to a solid reporting layer, we call it, or a reporting schema, or a golden schema in your warehouse. So that's called a bottom-up approach, where your business isn't clearly defined and you're building models to help you organize your business better.